Tonight, government acquisition of land belonging to the Prime Minister's family raises eyebrows. 1 week in, education officials say the third school term is off to a good start. And hundreds of St. Lucian homeowners have registered to provide shelter to Vincentians in need. The details of these stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Friday, the 23rd of April, 2021. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm Lovelace St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. The acquisition of lands by the government of St. Lucia to facilitate roadworks in the Rodney Bay area has raised eyebrows. Why? Because some of the land acquired by the government belongs to the Prime Minister's family. The Director of Implementation in the Office of the Prime Minister, Nancy Charles, says nothing untoward has transpired. She says lands had to be acquired to facilitate the Rodney Bay Road Improvement Project. Phase 1 of that $15 million project includes the addition of 2 more lanes, drainage and slabbing works, sidewalks, and the installment of roundabouts.
I would like to show St. Lucian that this was not a deal that was beneficial to any member or family of the Honorable Prime Minister, but this was squarely an initiative because we are expanding the road. We needed to acquire property. We went to 11 landowners to acquire property along that highway to facilitate the 2 roundabouts, and it so happened that one of those landowners happened to be the family of the Prime Minister.
Charles insists the land acquired is not a significant amount. She also disclosed that the Prime Minister's family indicated that they did not want cash compensation, but would rather receive land in exchange for land to be acquired by the government.
In the case of the family of the Prime Minister, I will show you here, based on the cabinet conclusion, the land that was acquired was only 463 square feet of land, just a little piece of land that was acquired from the family member of the Prime Minister. And if we were to do a rough calculation, for example, of the value of that particular property based on the comparable sale, 463 square feet times $11.83, which is the comparable sales value of that of land, it would have amounted to only $5,477. So I want St. Lucians to understand that this was not a deal where somebody was trying to make a money. It was more or less to facilitate the roundabout.
The Director of Implementation went on to highlight the need for the project, which has been given a thumbs down by civil engineer John Peters, who was a former chief engineer under the John Compton administration.
It's a pet peeve of commuters, especially in the northern areas. Persons who on a morning who's making their way into the city to work, and on an afternoon when people are making their way back to their homes. We've had a number of phases of road rehabilitation to ease the congestion in that area. The first one was along the Sandals area, and I'm sure commuters would see the benefit of that. And so some of the potential benefits of those projects would be to more or less ease the congestion in that Rodney Bay area that we keep complaining about over the years. Finally, the government of St. Lucia has decided to do something about that area.
That was the Director of Implementation in the Office of the Prime Minister, Nancy Charles. The island's Chief Education Officer is reporting a successful first week back in classrooms. Schools reopened on Monday, the 19th of April, after a short-lived reopening in January. Dr. Fiona Philip-Meyer says that from her observations, students and staff are playing their part to ensure that schools remain open. When school reopened on the 19th of April 2021 for the third term, many confessed that they were cautiously optimistic that protocols were sufficient to ensure that this time around, schools could remain open. Attempts to get children back on track with normal face-to-face classes have been attempted throughout the 2020-2021 academic year, but none have had much longevity. Online learning has been the saving grace of the education sector since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. This time around, the Chief Education Officer, Dr. Fiona Philip-Meyer, says things are off to a promising start.
We are keenly aware of the efforts of many educators and applaud them for their preparations geared at welcoming our students back. We saw some creative and fun projects that reminded students of safety protocols while at the same time reaffirming their sense of belonging at the educational institutions island-wide. Well done, everyone, and thank you for your efforts. We thank you for this initial step at what we hope will be a sustained third term.
The Chief Education Officer says that like other sectors, the education sector will be managing COVID-19 cases under guidance of the Ministry of Health. She reassured parents that they will be contacted once it is necessary to do so.
We have staff, parents, and students who in some way or another may be impacted reference COVID-19. We wish therefore to remind all stakeholders of the specific responses to various scenarios that were developed prior to the reopening of school. We encourage everyone to practice and adhere to the protocols that are clearly established so as to reduce any possible spread. We must, especially as adults, be vigilant and responsible in our actions so as to reduce any risk to our younger ones.
Both early childhood centers and primary and secondary schools across the island are currently operational, but for larger schools, a shift system of alternate instruction days for groups of students is in effect. The Ministry of Education says the health and safety of students and staff remains a top priority. While the Ministry of Education is reporting success with the first week of back to school, teachers are sharing how COVID-19 has impacted the way they instruct students. They are taking the time to not only teach in a safe environment, but to help students de-stress and better handle the psychological effects of COVID-19.
If COVID-19 has taught us anything, it's that mental health is just as important as physical health. While the Ministry of Health stresses on practicing the protocols and keeping oneself healthy and active, there is also a focus on managing one's mental health. The education sector has been hard hit by the pandemic, and children, while they may not verbalize how they feel, have been coping with the pandemic and adjusting to their new normal. So as school got back into full swing this week, teachers paid closer attention to the mental well-being of the students. Tabitha Prosper is a grade 1 teacher at the Anglican Primary School.
We tried to make the environment very inviting for them. For example, on the first day of school, we had balloons, we had lucky dips, we had games, we had sports. We tried to do different activities with them on the first day of school. No writing, no work, just for that first day. And in the afternoon time, we had movie and popcorn. They really enjoyed that. A student said to me, "Miss, fun on the first day of school?" I told him yes. And it was just something out of the norm for them. And they really enjoyed it. Up till today, we are having our little class party, bring and share, and our craft. And they are so looking forward to it.
The students were eager to share this week's experience.
You were at home for a long period of time, Janelle. How did you feel coming back to school on Monday?
I was just happy.
Happy. What have you enjoyed most about this week's activities?
Oh, the fun stuff we did, like coming back to school, we did a lot of fun stuff.
Okay,
Like
tell me
Monday
one of the
morning.
fun stuff that you did that you really liked.
Singing,
Singing, anything else?
and the musical chairs.
The music. How did you feel coming to the class on the first day of school?
Good.
Why did you feel good?
I like school.
You like school. So do you prefer learning at home or in the classroom?
In the classroom,
Tell us why. Explain why. Tell us all the reasons why.
I like how I can hear properly and see properly.
Okay. What did you like most about this week's activities? We had loads of activities. Which was your favorite?
The blocks.
Ms. Prosper encouraged parents to pay a little more attention to their children to help safeguard their mental health. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
Stay with us. Still to come, hundreds of St. Lucian homeowners have registered to provide shelter to Vincentians. Will the promised transformation of the South materialize? The Office of the Prime Minister says yes. And the Ministry of Agriculture reassures banana farmers that all outstanding payments due to them is being given immediate attention.